Oh, I'm talking to James.
This is a free lasagna dinner for the community, envisioned and organized by Akiva Varian.
I think he's calling in now.
Community. This event is supported by her employer, Edgewood Assisted Living Center. Come on out.
We're going to get started in just a second here, guys. You don't want to miss this. Show, share, like, tag a friend. You're going to have social media. If you're going to be on there, you're going to be tagging, blogging. You might as well make it make money for you. So we're going to talk about that today.
For more information, log on to our website, kisswtlc.com.
3 minutes.
Introducing a breakthrough in time management technology. A whole new day of the week. It's called Someday. It's ingenious. Perhaps someday you're going to go skydiving. Enter a hot dog eating contest. Maybe ride a mechanical bull. Now it's on the calendar. You may want to retire someday. Ready for that? Then you'll really want a My Social Security account at socialsecurity.gov.
Rob, what's that number? He said I gave him the wrong number. Isn't that it? 921-1071?
921-710-7107.
Oh.
Like 107?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, someone opens one about every 6 seconds. You should get yours today.
Oh, okay.
Because someday is here.
921-710-7989.
Okay.
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, laying in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Cats you like to stress them.
Hey, James, can you hear me?
Animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? And you look at the healthy cats to choose from, it's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters?
Hey, James, can you hear me? James. James?
Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Okay.
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
COVID-19 is a severe lung infection. Trust the American Lung Association for science-based public health information, especially for the 36 million Americans who live with lung disease. We have resources
What's
to
that?
protect your lung health.
James Hill.
Access expertise from medical professionals.
Kiss 17.1. Kiss 17.1.
Yes, this is James Hill.
Okay, James Hill, this is Rob. Producer, stand by, please.
Okay.
Make sure your radios and computers are turned off, okay?
Can you hear me, James?
We'll be with you shortly. James is on the phone, Kareem.
But I want to know if you can hear me through. Do you hear me through your computer? Can you hear me through your computer? Can you hear me through the Well, good evening, Saginaw. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I am your host for this evening, Kareem Bowen. Hey, there is so much that we need to cover on today. So I'm just going to jump right in with 2 feet. I want to thank all of you guys that are watching us via social media. Those of you who are coming in, we have an amazing conversation for us today. I got a young man that I had an opportunity to work with and do some mentoring with. Now I am going to be mentored by him, but it is an amazing opportunity. You guys have heard people making money off of social media and how you can make social media work for you. So now we're going to bring this young man in and we're going to have a conversation. He is doing a great job. He's doing phenomenal things, not just making money, but how do you begin to build your social media platform? Because he has had some amazing results in terms of what he has done and what he is doing. And he's launching out on a new great things, just like I would love for him to do. So I want to highlight what he has going on while we can bless many of you that will hear this conversation. So while you guys are tuning in right now, if there's some young people, some entrepreneurs, people who have business, people who are selling things online, people who are trying to build a platform and a space for business, I need to make sure that you make sure that they get in here so that they can be a part of this conversation so that they don't miss out on this important information. And James, before you even come in, I think that you can still hear me. I think that we're going to get together and have a master's class and we'll talk about this because he also has a degree in marketing. We'll talk about all that, but you know how we got to do. We got to talk about what's on my mind first, right? What is on my mind, Saginaw? It's what's on everybody's mind. Nothing has changed. It is all the same. Man, I just can't get over. First of all, you know how we have to do, like, so pay respect to those who are out there. My afternoon girlfriend, John Daniel, your afternoon girlfriend, Javon Daniels, is also out there in social media streaming. Javon, thank you for tuning in today. But I also have in studio my producer, Rob Father. Rob, why don't you give people a shout out?
What's up, sir?
He coming in big sexy. What's up, Saginaw? How are you? Okay, I want to talk about what's on my mind. And since you're the person that's in here with me, Rob, you're going to be the person that's going to go crazy with me, all right? All right, Capitol Hill has fallen. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the movies. White Has Down, Olympus Has Fallen, all of those movies. But on last Wednesday, and it was a very interesting day. As a matter of fact, as I was on the radio on my other show on United Shades of Gray on WSGW, I was in the process. Actually, I was having a conversation about how do we bring, any type of conciliation between races. And I had two white pastors. It's a prolific conversation that will air at 7 p.m. tonight after this show.
On WSGW AM 790 and on our sister station WSGW FM 100.5.
All right, thank you, Rob, because I get all mumble jumble. But anyways, I had just left there, and after leaving, like, all hell had broken loose in America. I could not believe what was going on. And so, that's what's on my mind right now. Capitol Hill, Donald Trump's insurrection is absolutely crazy. He is sedition and insurrection. Absolutely. But the crazy thing is that he is the president of the largest the greatest democratic republic on the planet. We have gone and big brothered other nations as they were fighting for building republics of democracy. And here he is creating what I consider anarchist. It is anarchy, trying to overthrow the government. He had a rally, Taking America Back rally, I think what it was. He told all patriots, and this was via social media. Y'all know he has been blocked. My man, who has talked less to the media and more through his Twitter feed, has been blocked permanently. He's been put on permanent time out as it relates to his feed. And he tried to get messages out off of one account, and they blocked that account too. They said, listen, you're going to sit there in the box. Now, initially, I was like, hey, we can't censor the guy, but hey, let's just shut him down and put him out. So anyways.
They even blocked the POTUS account, the official account.
Yeah.
That won't be activated until after Biden becomes president.
Absolutely. So there is all of this stuff going on. He's calling our patriots to D.C. How do we know that he called our patriots to D.C.? Because the men that have been arrested for this heinous crime have been saying, hey, we got these tweets from Donald Trump telling us to come to D.C. and, all patriots come to D.C. while there. And they had a permit that allowed them to have about 30,000 people for this particular event.
This was that standby thing he did a few months ago.
Yeah. But it was called Taking America Back or something. And so while they were doing this, hundreds, it looks like a half of America showed up at this particular event. And then Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump, they began this crazy conversation of telling the crowd, we're going to take it, even if we have to take by force, we're going to do it now, we're not taking no, even we have to get violent, we'll do whatever, we're patriots, let's do it, all that crazy shenanigan talk. And these people literally went, and y'all seen it, I don't have to tell you what happened, but I do want to, yeah, so they go in, and they are now releasing new footage from other areas, and they're showing how they were beating up officers. But this, I want to get through this because y'all saw the foolishness, but I want to talk about the real foolishness because there's a situation here. And the first thing that comes up to, we were like, if they had been That's right. You can finish the conversation.
If they've been black, I've said it.
If they had been black, I don't have no problem saying it, but everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. If they had been black, this would not have only been an insurrection. This would have been a brutal murder. Yeah, and people would have been all over. This would have been a crazy situation with this insurrection, right? So we understand what that is, and so it brings the conversation, the disparate treatment that as black folks growing up in America, especially black men, that we have known that this has happened for a long time. This is what we've been complaining about, and so people want to have, well, Black Lives Matter. They set bill. Come on, man. Come on. Where is the Kyle Rittenhauser and Ricky Schroeder and those individuals out there who are protecting the buildings, right? And what this comes down to, the reality of this is law enforcement, we're in on this. I don't care what anybody has to say. There is no way in the world that you can allow something like this to take place. Law enforcement officers are not present. There was not enough police presence, but I'll tell you why, Rob. And that is because when we say there is a group of black men, let me say this first. I remember there was someone talking, and they were saying that Louis Farrakhan and 3 men went to one of the buildings, just probably 3 buildings removed from the Capitol. And with those individuals going in, they had snipers on the roof. They had Capitol Police on full alert. They had DC Police on full alert for 4 men, Louis Farrakhan and 3 other men. And they were supposed to be on alert until they left. And they were on high alert. Everyone was ready to go because these 4 black men, I didn't realize y'all didn't realize how powerful you really can be. All right. So when we look at this and we look at the preparation that was taking place, well, I see you walk by walk because they was in the crowd. Absolutely. You can't fight something that you're a part of. So now they're finding out that there's police officers that they've arrested. They've arrested congressmen, local state congressmen, local city officials, your doctors, because this is the America that we live in. And so people are like, oh, wow, surprised. We didn't know this existed. This is what we've been saying forever. So we were not ashamed. We were not afraid. We were just sitting there just like, I'm glad because your chickens have come home to roost. You've been talking, take over, man, all this crazy rhetoric, spewing lies. And now the chickens, as Malcolm said, have come home to roost. Now, what are you going to do about it? And many of us are sitting there and we were like, you know what? This ain't our fight. We're going to wipe our hands of this situation, Rob, because this is not our fight. You wouldn't listen to us when we were saying that we need to look at how police officers view us. Now, police officers view black men as radical, we're angry, we're violent. This is how they portray us. And so when we come in, and it may be 100 of us, they come in like we are about to take over the world, but they don't get the same. It's not the same racial cue. It's not the same tone. They're not pictorialized and shown in the same way when it comes to white America. And for that reason, and that reason only, we have seen an insurrection that takes place. 5 people killed, 5 people dead.
Actually, they've got a 6th person. One of the chief police officers just committed suicide. They reported that today.
Wow.
So that's 6 deaths.
I mean, because this is something that you can't live down in. Everybody that was a part of this, every politician, Hawley, and was it Cruz? Man, Ted, this is what I don't understand. Ted, dude talked about your father-in-law, called your wife ugly, and you're still riding, and you still on his job. This is absolutely horrendous, but I think that they should be prosecuted. So now the conversation becomes, what do we do next? We know that Pence is never going to do the 25th. He's not going to invoke the 25th Amendment, which allows the vice president to say, hey, our president is unfit. And then with a majority of the cabinet come in and say, hey, we're going to remove him at 4 days. You know, all we need is we have 1 week, 10 days that we have to deal with. He's never going to do it. And so now we have on hand our first number 45 president that is probably going to be, there's an attempted impeachment for the 2nd time. First time ever in American history, I say we should impeach him. I think that he should be criminally prosecuted because I can't go into a movie theater or into a building and scream fire. I can't go in and say, let's kill everybody. And if somebody gets killed, I'm going to be held accountable. It's illegal to incite a riot. So we want justice to be served here, and I think it's about time.
The only 3 options that are available right now is Trump will either resign, which we know will not happen.
He's never going to resign.
Because he can pull a rap out the heck, because he always does that. Okay, so
y'all go wake up tomorrow morning and Trump is going to be like, I'm going to Russia with Putin.
10.5 days ago, there's impeachment. Now, as fast as they have rushed the confirmation of the Supreme Court justice, they probably rush impeachment
Through the
to
House.
the House. However, there's talk that they may wait until after Biden's in and impeach him post-president. So that may happen as well. And but then they can just get to the House, but will never get to the Senate because now you have to call all 100 senators back if they agree to come back, and not to come back until January 19th.
Yeah, so we would actually be carrying this out. This is the key thing about impeachment that's important. Or censure. This is the key thing about impeachment. If we go down the impeachment route, we can then say, and they can pass a law and pass a rule, because there is a rule that if you have been impeached twice, that you are no longer able to hold a public office. And I think that is the key pathway to take.
He has to be convicted in impeachment.
Well, I mean, convicted. I think that it would serve the Republican Party well to convict him, so they ain't got to deal with this foolishness later in life. All right, we're going to get to the conversation you guys are here, but I had to address that. But I do want to spend some time talking to my man who is out here on today. He is a young guy, and I'm going to bring him in. For those of you who are watching on social media, I want to bring him in. James, are you out there, my man?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
Okay, so we hear James, y'all hear James. I need y'all. Okay, hey. We're going to have this conversation with James because James is an amazing young man. I had an opportunity to meet him at my time out at SVSU, and I didn't realize that James was like, man, you was the only person who would help me, man. I just knew that he had a desire to do something great. I knew that James Hill, I'm sorry, he's James Hill of James Hill TV, as you see, those of you who are watching on social media. And he had a desire to do some great things. James, why don't you, first of all, let's start before I get jumped in, because I'm excited about you being here. You know, it's amazing when you have somebody that come in that you've seen their very beginning and you see how they are progressing through the ranks. First of all, James, say what's up to my Straight Talk audience out there.
Hey, what's up? My name is James. On social media, James Hill TV. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you and your audience, and it's an honor. And like you said, you were one of the people that gave me a shot when I didn't even know what I was doing. So we always going to be connected, no matter where each of us go. We're gonna do this together. We both gonna grow
And
together.
this is my guy. All right. Okay, this is my guy. This is my guy. I don't care if he gets a pardon. Somebody said don't impeach him because somebody will pardon him. Just impeach him. Let's make him go down in history for the great thing. All right, so we're talking to James right now. James Hill of James Hill TV, but even more so of James Hill TV. James, I want you to give right now at the top of our conversation how people can follow you and how people can find you. Why don't you share that information right now?
Yeah, so I'm James Hill TV on all important social media platforms. So that's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you guys can check me out there and check me out with all the other things I have going on.
All right, James. Frank Sanders is out there. He's like, bro, he didn't know who I was talking to today. I would just tell him, I said, we need to share this in our Impact SVSU because one of the things, you know this, James, as you are a part of Impact coming in, I'm always telling you guys to dream the biggest dream. You got to plan for success. You got to plan to be great. And you're actually coming into a segment where we're talking about preparation for greatness. And so I think this is great because I want you to begin to highlight what it is that you do. Now, James, you were at SVSU when I met you. What exactly is your educational background?
Yeah, so I got a bachelor's degree in communication with a focus on marketing from Saginaw Valley State University, and yeah, that's where we met at. Pretty much.
And James was making these little videos like, "Hey, I'm going to be a public speaker. Pastor, help me. I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to do this." And I was like, "Okay, James. Okay, we're going to work on that, bro. Okay." And so we would have these conversations and you were filming things and doing things, but you had that sparkle in your eye for success. You had that motivation. The thing that I liked about you more than anything else was that you were committed to making sure that you achieved greatness. You didn't know where you were going with this, but you said you were committed to making sure you achieve greatness. Now, this is the thing. I want to get into this conversation because there's a lot of people that are going to be seeing this and repeat. There may be people that are watching via social media. If you have a question, I want you to put your question in the comment stream, and then I will be able to make sure that we ask that question. All right, James. So before we get started with you, I want to say this about social media for those who are listening. And I'm going to give some names, and most of you are going to be like, who in the world are these people? Addison Ray, I'm going to say that name. Charlie D'Amelio, Dixie Amelio, Lauren Gray, Josh Richards, Anybody know those individuals? Probably not. But young America, those who are out there are a bit younger, James, those names sound familiar to you a little bit?
No, I can't think of
You say you
nobody.
can't. Okay, this is
I
why I
didn't
wanted
hear.
to say their names. And I know you're not a TikToker, okay? But
Right.
these are, and I brought them up because these are the top five, the highest paid TikTokers in America. These individuals are making five, four, three, $2 million a year off a social media platform. They're where you're going, James. Don't worry, you'll get there, okay?
Yeah, I'm on my
And
way.
so, but I say this because I've been watching how they have been operating. I've been doing some research on them and just seeing, 5 cents per click is what they're making. And so some of them have over 2 billion clicks, some 10, and I'm
Mm.
like, this is absolutely ridiculous. How are they doing this? And then James and I had a conversation. And so I think it's important that we share this conversation with you because James is doing what I want to do when I grow up. And so I'm excited to have him with us on today. James, explain to the people exactly what it is. You have a business and you have a platform, Black Billionaires, right?
Black millionaires, yes, black
Oh, we
millionaires.
ain't at billions yet. Black Millionaires. Explain to me about Black Millionaires and what it is that you're doing currently, James.
So it's a media company that promotes financial literacy, and we don't just promote it. We actually connect, individuals with financial service representatives or lawyers, accountants, business owners, and we give them a platform to advertise to reach their next customer. So we offer, a lot of different services. We have a mentorship program where we connect with some Black millionaires and other people who are succeeding in their business, and so it's a media company and it's a marketing company intertwined together. The media platform is James Hill TV, is my podcasting, all the stuff I do, and Black Millionaires is the platform that connects individuals to those professionals, and that other people can advertise their business on to find their next customer. And we're not anti any race, but we're pro Black, so that means I'm primarily working with business owners that want to serve my community, have a product or service that betters our community. So I don't promote. It's a lot of things I don't promote. So I turn down a lot of deals and advertising deals. I'll give an example. Um, I personally, I don't have anything against alcohol. I don't have anything against marijuana, but I don't promote it. I know it's going to go on in our community. It's millions and billions of other companies that do promote it. So I have made the decision not to promote it. Not to say I'm anti any of those things, because we live in America. You can do what you please. You're an adult. But I create the platform to promote financial literacy and to promote empowerment in the Black community. So products or services don't necessarily serve that purpose, I don't accept it on my platform, no matter what the amount they're trying to pay me.
Okay, James, this is the question that I want to ask. And that was a very great PC version of that comment. Why don't you why not go for the liquor company or tobacco, weed, everybody smoking blunts? This is a whole, revenue stream. Why personally do you not do that particular? Why won't you touch those areas?
Well, I don't touch those areas because I mean we have that coming from 9 different areas. So if you grew up in the hood like I did on the east side of Detroit, it's a liquor store on every corner. It's somebody selling weed at pretty much every gas station. So what's the point of me promoting marijuana or liquor if when the people I'm trying to serve walk outside and there are signs trying to promote and sell that product? So I'm actually competing with that product because I'm telling people, save your money, don't go out, don't spend your money, invest in your business so you and your family can actually prosper. So why would I promote liquor or alcohol when I'm telling you, instead of spending your money on liquor and alcohol, you can spend your money and save and start a business, which is what I did.
All right, so let's get to how you started this business. Okay, we know you got a little background. We know you're doing, videos. We've seen those, James. All right. Uh, am I correct? You've been doing this for how long? You've been grinding for a minute, James.
On the this particular business or just in general?
On this particular, is this a pandemic business? Let me know that.
Well, it's pre-pandemic. So I started January 3rd, 2020. So I was
Okay.
2 months in before the pandemic hit.
All right. Now, this is what I've been telling many of you all that are watching and following social Straight Talk for a long period of time. The pandemic was horrific for a lot of people, but for a lot of individuals who were positioning themselves, who were prepared to make great things happen. Uh, and I'll say it the way that you said it to me, James, when we were talking. The pandemic created the perfect scenario where everything hit in the right place. All right, so
Mhm.
you started this at the beginning of 2020, okay?
Yeah.
And walk us through this. Who in the world? You start 2020. I know you were like, dang, a pandemic hit. But then what began to happen to allow you to see the silver lining around this dark cloud? What happened?
Yeah, so let's go back even before I started the business. So I had a business called Millennial Mistakes, and that was promoting financial literacy and primarily focusing on budgeting and paying off your student loans because I graduated from college. I had $45,000 in student loans. I had car payments. I had everything that the typical American has, credit cards, medical bills, all of that. So in order for me to convince myself that, I need to get my budget and save and get my money right, I created a platform to do that. And I'm gonna just be honest, the platform was whack. Nobody engaged with it. I didn't make really any money. I lost $8,000 when I filed my taxes. I had all this equipment that I was just buying and all these resources and subscriptions to services that I wasn't using because I was just investing in other areas instead of investing in myself.
Okay,
So
so James, hold on, James, because I gotta ask you a question before we move past this millennial mistakes.
mhm.
What was the lesson that you learned from that failure?
The lesson that I learned is to study your KPIs, which means your key performance indicators. So when you start a business, there are key performance indicators that show you where you make money and where you actually add value to customers. Where we get caught up in small bit as a small business owner is we want to buy what we think the business needs and not what the business actually needs. So instead of me being emotionally attached to my business, now I sit back and say, yes, I want this service or product, but does my business or does my customers need this business or product or service? So if it's not going to benefit my customers and it's not going to benefit me and our brand, I don't buy it. Even if it makes my brand look good or other people are buying it, I don't spend the money on it. What I
We
was
we, we
doing previously, I was seeing people with $700-800 cameras, and I'm thinking, oh, I need that type of camera, and I went out and bought it, and I figured out, oh, that's not even a camera I actually need. So I was spending money on things that didn't make me money or didn't bring me customers. So at that point, I lost $8,000 when I did my taxes, and I was like, it's a wrap. I'm not doing it no more.
Okay, James. So what you're saying is that we take often the mentality that we do from the neighborhood, that we want to look, we got to keep up with the Joneses. We want to look good, and so we spend all of this money on looking good. We want to look like run with the stallions, run with the. When we got pony legs, but we want to run with the stallions. And you're saying, what are your KPI, your key performance indicator? What are the things that you absolutely need in order to get this thing moving? Is what you're saying.
Correct. What can you spend now? So the bare minimum of what you need to do now. For example, I'll give you a great example. I had a young lady I was working with, and she had about $4,000 to start her business, and she just signed a contract for somebody to design her website for 3,000. I said, you can go make a website for under $100. What are you doing? Right? Cancel that and actually spend $3,000 on products and services and marketing to make money. And then when you make $10,000, now you can go spend your profits on upgrading your website. But right now, you just need $100, $200 website. You don't need a $3,000 website. That website is not making you money. The traffic that comes to your website is what makes you money. So you
And
need
that's a whole
3,000 on that and not the 3,000 on the website.
Now I want you to hear this because Yvonne Daniels, and I'm not sure if you know who Yvonne Daniels is. She is really, what is her
The
official?
program director.
She's the program director of this show, and she's why I am here, and to bring this kind of content to empower, to inform, and to enrich our community. Now, and she says, you definitely got to come back. She follows you on your Instagram lives, your Instagram Black Millionaires lives, and you put some amazing. I was out there like enriched, and before I knew it, this was the first time that I spent about 2 hours on social media looking at information. I'm going to tell you, man, I got on there and I was like, to get my attention, I'm like, that's usually how I am. But I got on there and I was really intrigued by the content and the information that you were sharing, and it kept my attention. So I'd encourage everybody who hears this, who sees this, Go to Black Millionaires on Instagram. You on there anyway, putting pictures up that you ain't making no money from. So you might as well get on there and spend some time, as he said, invest that time, that hour, that 2 hours, or whatever it is that you're spending surfing. Spend it on investing yourself and enriching yourself with the information. This guy's doing an amazing job. Not only that, but you're bringing in other people and getting their insights on how to do great things. And so I think that's amazing. All right, so we made this millennial mistake. What happens after that?
Okay, so after that, I quit the business. So I said it's a wrap. I'm shutting it down. When I looked at, so I use a software called QuickBooks, and it showed you how much money you're making, what's going in, what's going out. When I saw $8,000, I said it's a wrap. Here I am trying to teach people how to pay their student loans off, and I spent $8,000 doing that when I could have put $8,000 towards my student loans. I'm hustling backwards. I'm working backwards. I'm not in business to actually make money. At that point, I was in business to show people what I was doing, which is why I lost money.
Okay,
If I
now
go ahead.
no, because you just said something, and I want to make sure we highlight your points that you're making, because even with a nonprofit, and you'll agree with this, James, nonprofit is a business. Okay, and so whatever you're doing, even nonprofits have the ability to make a profit. So but we need to understand that we're not in business to feel good. You're not in business. What do you want to do for your business? I want to help people. You can go help people and not call it a business. But if you're going to be in business, regardless of what your business is, you're in business to make money, right? So you see this $8,000, you're like, man, I could have put this on my student loans. What happens next, James?
Okay, after that, I still have my 9 to 5, so I'm not doing this business full time. So I still have my 9 to 5. So what I started doing is I replaced that $8,000 that was costing me, that business that was costing me money, and I started doing a side hustle. So I started delivering pizzas on the rich end of town in Buckhead, Atlanta. So I was doing that, saving all of my money, all
Wait a
of my
minute.
tips and everything
Wait a
I
minute.
did.
Wait a minute. You door dashing? You
No,
delivering?
so I was actually delivering pizzas for Domino's.
And you have a degree from a university.
Correct. So I had
Dude,
I
you're
worked.
not doing that. What are people thinking about you? Why in the world would you do that, James?
So I have a job and I was making $50,000 a year, and I was working for a technology company in their sales department, and they kind of had a cap on their income. So once I hit the cap, I'm like, okay, I can't work harder there because I'm not going to make no more money. So after I got off work, I went and put on my Domino's outfit, and I delivered pizzas on the rich end of town. So I was very strategic. That does three things for me. I don't have to travel to make money. I get good tips because I'm on a rich end of town, and I'm being exposed to estates and mansions and $1 million condos and connecting with these people. So some of these people, they was connecting with me, and I still know some of these people today, and they so amazed that I'm not, they asked me like, you're not delivering pieces no more. I'm like, no, I got a full-time business. I'm doing XYZ. So some of these people are still like people I'm connected with. So I was doing that from about October up until like December. So right before Christmas, and I quit because I got sick, because I was doing it from like 7 p.m. to like 2 p.m. and I wasn't sleeping because I was getting right up going back to work, and my sleep pattern was off. So you got to take care of yourself. I learned that at an early age, that you got to take care of yourself first, and you can't put money over your health and your wellness. So I got sick and I quit that. But then when I quit that, I had about $4,000 or $5,000 saved up for a new business venture. Not my personal savings. This was just for a new business venture. And how Black Millionaires got started is I was talking to one of my close friends from college, and we were like, let's create a platform, because we were seeing all these platforms being created, people promoting financial literacy in the Black community. So I'm like, I want to create a platform similar to this platform called Black Wall Street, right? And then we was thinking about how can we create this platform. So at this point I went to a networking event, and I met the guy who created the Super Soaker. His name is Lonnie Johnson, and he's a Black guy. And I was so amazed that I met him, and we talked for like 45 minutes, and he had just won a settlement for $88 million. So we was talking about that. And I called my family members and called my friends to tell them about that. And it was like, the guy who made the Super Soaker Black? And we played with Super Soakers our whole life, right? So I'm like, okay, there's a market for this. Maybe we can educate people about the black people who are succeeding and successful outside of sports and entertainment, because we know the Kevin Harts and the LeBron Jameses, and we're inspired by those. But I'm not 6'8" and can shoot a 3-pointer, so I'm not going to be LeBron. So I need to focus on my business and not not sports or entertainment, right? So once I started telling my friend about this, my friend came up with the name. He like Black Millionaires, and I'm like, wow, that's a great name, right? So we kind of put a business plan together to go in this 50-50. And when we went in 50-50, we started with $150 of our own money. And I knew I was the social media guy, like you said. I was the guy always on video trying to figure it out, right? So I already had those skills, even though I was failing on the business, I was still learning. So I already had those skills. So I told my friend, let me do that and be in front of the camera, and you work on the back end, right? So my friend, I don't know what happened. We were like best friends, and then we fell out over this because he wanted to do the social media and be on camera thing, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So he just was like, whatever, I quit. Send me my money back. So at this point, we fell out. We fall out. So we kind of going back and forth. We fall out, and then my feelings and emotions are wrapped in this now. So I didn't lost a friend over this. So I'm like, okay, I have to make this succeed at this point, because I didn't lose a friend over this just to be another failure and lose another $8,000.
Okay, I want to take a quick time out because you said a lot there, and I want to make sure that we're capitalizing on these nuggets that you're dropping here, man. I got to go back to you making you having a full-time job, you making $50,000. I'm sure you're working however many hours, at least 40 a week. And you realize I can work as hard as I want to. I'm not going to make any more. This is what I'm making. I'm not making any more money. So you went out and got a job that most people would think is beneath them, because you knew that that could create a stream of income that wasn't coming anywhere else. So you said, I'm going to have to sleep later because I got to make these moves right now. And people need to realize something very important. You have to work your hustle until your dream becomes a reality. I say to this to young people all the time. And what you realize is I got to find another stream of income, not so I can go out and buy the next bronze, not so that I can buy me an apartment and tell people that I've accomplished, but so that I can begin to invest in me. Whatever excess money I have coming in over bills and what is necessary, I have to be able to invest in me. That's the number one thing. Everybody that's listening to this, and we'll hear this and repeat, I'm going to tell you what I told this young man and other young men like him. The person that you should be ready and jumping for to invest, you should be the first person you invest in your life. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, why would anyone else want to invest in you? Secondly, James, you said that you went to an event because you were trying to figure out how you can create a platform. And when you got into the event, you met the creator of the Super Soaker, who I had an opportunity to meet on another platform, Black Inventor, and he made money from the infringement of a patent, I think, that he had, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay, so you begin to ask other people, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you know? Who do you know that may be able to help me in my adventure or my quest to do what it is I want to do? The greatest wealth of information that we have is often the people that are right around us, but we have to be willing to seize, carpe diem, take those moments, be embarrassed for a minute, let somebody know that you don't know something, and watch them share that information with you, okay? So James, I'm impressed with what you're saying. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to get on the other side of this and how Black millionaires continued, all right? Stay tuned with more of Straight Talk and my man, James.
Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
So
you decided to upgrade your outdoor deck.
30 seconds.
The essentials.
No, I'm
A
getting
power washer.
All right, so we got a quick minute here. So James, I'm gonna just get something. Why do businesses think? If you could write this down so we could hit it. Why does business always ruin friendships? Oh, we'll talk about that. Terry Reed is saying he went out and created his business with his drive and his motivation. They're loving this conversation. I told you, dude. I told you you're going somewhere, and I told you we're gonna go here together because you have something that I don't have, and I'll be the first person to say this. It takes money to make money. Seize the moment, seize the day. Yes, research and skills, 4 P's, product, price, placement, and promotion. And Kevin Finley out there, one of your old SVS, you guys, James, you are the man. We'll get right to this. We're coming back.
For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. This message is brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council. It's Straight Talk with Kareem Bone.
All right, we are back with Straight Talk. I'm your guy, Kareem Bowen, and we are here with the millionaire man, all right? Black millionaire, James Hill of James Hill TV. James, okay, so before the break, you were talking about you getting into black millionaires. Somebody asked, why do friendships always have to be the one? And I'll tell you this, because it's a lack of informing or dealing with those issues in your business plan. If you put in your business plan what we're doing, whenever there's a discrepancy, always go back to the business plan. Think about all of the things that could cause an issue. Think about all of the fights. Think about all the things that could go wrong. Put it in your business plan. And when somebody feeling like, I want to be in front of the camera, let's say, well, this is what we said in the business plan that was going to make us successful. So we can handle and save a lot of relationships if we would do that. All right, James, back to you. Black Millionaires is now all on you. What do you do?
Okay, so I just started creating content, educating people on the successful black millionaires that we don't know. They're not on TV every day. They're at home running their businesses, and they're not promoted in our community. So I started on January 3rd, and I made the post with Lonnie Johnson talking about him winning his patent infringement settlement on January 16th. So at this point, I got like 3,000 or 4,000 followers. And I made that post, and that post went viral. So what happened is a lot of big pages start stealing my content, and they were like, okay, you got to pay me $100 for me to tag you. And I'm like, $100? I never paid up nobody $100 to tag me on Instagram. But here's the thing. When I was delivering pieces, I saved every last dollar. So I have $4,000 or $5,000 in the bank saved up. So I'm just like, whatever, it's only $100. Let me see how this is going to go. So I paid them. And, I got like 1,000 followers. So I'm like, okay, that was dope. And I made another post talking about a black couple out of Baltimore. And their last name, I forgot their first name, but their last name is Brown. And they got like $15 billion in assets under management in their investment company. So I started putting up content like that. People started to learn, research these people, and they knew that they were legitimate. So now people started to come to me and send me DMs and say, hey, this guy is a millionaire. Hey, this person's a millionaire. And then people started to reach out to me. Real black millionaires started to reach out to me and say, hey, why haven't you posted me up? I'm a black millionaire. I'm like, okay, I never heard about you. So people literally start giving me content, and I just start posting it up. And then in a month, I had 10,000 followers. So about February 19th, I believe I had 10,000 followers, and this is pre-pandemic. So obviously,
okay. James, I want to ask you a question that someone has asked out they said, what are resources beyond school? What other resources beyond school did you use to develop and hone in your skills?
Well, public speaking is one of my skills, and I joined when I moved to Atlanta. I joined the Toastmasters public speaking team, and I was the public relations and marketing manager for them. So I was already developing these social media marketing skills on a different organization that I wasn't getting paid for. It was kind of like a networking event, volunteer work, and I was on their board, and I was working to do that. So I always did things like that. I wasn't getting paid, but I knew I was networking, number one, and I was sharpening my skills, which I wanted to always do ever since you knew me with the lame videos I used to do, my public speaking skills. So I killed two birds with one stone. So that was a great way for me to.
I want to say this, James, because if I remember correctly, when you showed me your first video of you were doing your little videos, I told you, you got to make sure, join Toastmasters. I remember giving you information like you got to join something where you're speaking and people are critiquing you, because that's where this was. And so you took that small piece and you began to add. Please, those of you who are listening, listen to someone else who has something that you have. I'm listening to James now because James has something that I have that I don't have that I want. All right, so continue on. So now you're doing this thing with your black millionaires. They're coming to you saying, hey, I'm a millionaire. And there's an idea that I'm going to share with you after we get off here that just dropped in my spirit. It's a divine download that I need to share with you that is going to be another stream of income for you. But go ahead. Now they're coming to you. Why am I not on in your feed?
So they coming to me asking me, hey, why haven't you posted me up? I did this. I'm an executive here. I started and sold this company. And then one guy, he's a doctor, and he became a millionaire, invested in the stock market. He was like, hey, I actually want to mentor you. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Like, I don't even know if you're a millionaire. I'm like, send me some information on it. Right. So I'm kind of blocking my blessings. Right. So I created this platform for Black millionaires. This guy is like, look, dude, I'm a millionaire. Like, I don't have to prove to you I'm a millionaire. Then I'm like, okay, send me some information. So I looked it up, and he was on a board of directors, and he was a healthcare executive for $1 billion healthcare company. They're not publicly traded. So obviously the regular Joe Schmo wouldn't know who they are. But he started mentoring me, and he started telling me like, hey, you have to figure out ways to develop income from this. So my first stream of income that I always had was speaking, motivational speaking, speaking to youth and things like that. So I started booking speaking engagements. I booked one pre-pandemic. I did that, made about probably like $1,000 for an hour speech, and it blew my mind. I'm like, wow, I can actually make money from this. And then
Wait a minute, how much did you make?
I got paid $1,000.
Well, you got paid more than I did. That's $1,000 an hour, James. Look at this. The taught has become the sensei. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I got paid $1,000 to do a speech, and then once I got paid, then I'm like, wow, I actually can take this to the next level. But then I had booked like 3 more speaking engagements. At this time, it's like February, early March, and then we kept hearing signs about COVID, coronavirus, and it was kind of a joke at first. At first, it was a joke until the NBA shut down. Once the NBA shut down their season, everything that was like a big domino effect. Everything started shutting down, and I kept getting calls. Hey, I'm sorry, I know we had that speaking engagement, but that's canceled. We can't do it virtual because we wanted you to actually do some more training with the students, so that's canceled. And it was supposed to be only a 2-week thing, and it ended up 2 months, and now we're still in the middle of the shutdown, right? So the next 2-3 weeks, I was pulling my hair out, literally like, dude, I just had all these speaking engagements lined up.
I gotta get my coins.
I just started this new business, and that was my only. I had stopped delivering pieces, so that was kind of like a side hustle, speaking engagements, and I was making good money from that. So that was my second stream of income. Then I'm like, okay, I have to figure out a third stream of income. So I remembered the platform that I wanted to be like. They used to do advertising, so I created a third stream of income and started doing advertising on my Black Millionaires platform, letting small business owners capitalize on this attention that I was getting from all these viral posts and people engaging with my content. And I didn't understand it was a blessing in disguise, but once COVID happened and everything shut down, I kind of shut down for a few weeks, and I'm like, oh my God, my business I just started this new business, is about to fail. Then I realized that I was working from home, I was at home, and my social media was going crazy. So I'm like, everybody's at home on their phone. So I need to start creating more content. So instead of doing 1 post a day, I started doing like 5 or 6 posts a day. So I started getting more content. And sadly, the George Floyd situation happened. So at that point, I got COVID that happened. So now more people are on the internet. So that helps my business. And then George Floyd happened. So at that point, everybody in America was pro-Black. Nobody wanted to say anything against being pro-Black, even if you had something to say. All these corporations that's been anti-Black for years, they had Black Lives Matter on their websites and everything, right? So at that point, people are searching Black on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And my post, because I was going viral, was the first thing that came up. So at this point, I reached 20,000 followers in like May. And then at the end of May, I had 50,000 followers. So I'm growing exponentially because everybody's searching Black. They're looking for some type of Black business owner to support, and people start pouring into my business. And I had created that third stream of income, which is the advertising. And then people kept asking me, how are you keep creating this viral content, right?
Okay, hold on real quick, because people want to know where you're going. But I want to give them some information, some numbers on you real quick, James. Mm-hmm. James, in terms of his Black Millionaires platform, he has only 549 posts. Okay, the conversation we're having, he's only posted 549. He's only following 4,844. He has 382,000 followers, and this is all in 2020. He had 365,000 additional followers on IG growth in 1 year. I have to applaud you, James, because we're increasing followers, two here, two there, 365,000 follower increase. So that now means that you are in a position that you can use your platform to make money for you. So go ahead with your story.
Yeah, so my first stream of income obviously was my 9 to 5 job. My second stream of income was the public speaking, but because of COVID, that got cut off. My third stream of income was my advertising I did on the platform. So that took off because more people were on the internet. The online business and e-commerce was going crazy, so people wanted to spend money on ads, and I provided that to people. So I think that's three streams of income. My fourth stream of income came when I started actually creating content for other people. So when people come on my page, they're like, okay, can you create some content so my page and my post can go viral? So I started helping them out with that. So that's number 4. Then I started doing one-on-one coaching. So this is number 5.
Hold on. When you say creating content for others, explain to them when you say create, what kind of content are you creating?
So a young lady came to me and she was trying to promote her bar exam results. It took her 3 times to pass the bar. So she just had a picture of her in a suit, kind of like a professional suit. And I'm like, okay, let's take that picture and put a caption on the top of it and says, corporate lawyer takes 3 times to pass the bar and now she made partner at her law firm. So now instead of people actually seeing her pass the bar exam, they're reading it too, because on social media you get 2 or 3 seconds to impress somebody with your content and then they're gonna move on to the next thing. So putting that caption at the top of her content made the content go viral. So once I did that to her for free, and once I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is a business model. So I started adding that to my services. So that was that's like a 4th stream of income. My 5th stream of income came in when I started doing one-on-one coaching. So people said, okay, you're trying to coach me through the DM. I need you to carve out an hour or 2 of your day to help me out. So I'm like, okay, it's going to cost you money for that. So I set up that on my website and people started booking that. So that's 5 streams of income. So people kept booking me so much, I was tired because I still had my 9 to 5. Right? As I'm having all this success, I still got my 9 to 5. So I'm like, I can't coach everybody. I don't have enough time in a day. It's just not that many hours. I got to sleep 8, I got to work 8, and I'm working on my business 8. So I don't have that much. Time. So what I did is created a digital ebook outlining everything I do, every step I take, and put it on my website. So this is the 6th stream of income. So now I'm waking up earning money in my sleep from a digital product. Now people are buying it. I'm still doing the advertising. Now I'm doing speaking engagements, but I'm doing them virtually, right? And I still got my job and I'm still doing one-on-one coaching. So at this point, I have learned my lesson about spending money on things that don't make me money. And I was saving my money, being a steward of my money, and I still have my job. So I didn't have to pay myself any salary. So I just start, creating additional streams of income off of the money I was already earning.
Okay, so a lot of you that are out there that are listening, he said a couple of things that I want to make sure that we all understand. You went to virtual learning is what you did.
Yeah.
Like everybody else with virtual learning, like I'm gonna show you how to do virtual learning. But this is important. What he said is, and some of you guys will say, oh, you gotta, when you begin, usually 100K, 100,000 followers is kind of like the unspoken line where you can begin to monetize your platform, if I'm correct. That's kind of general with YouTube. I know.
I would say there's ways to do it earlier than that. It depends on your product. Because I'm a marketing expert, people
know how to do that.
People want to see that 100,000 for me because that's social proof for my business. But if you're a lawyer or you're an accountant and you have an actual service that every business owner needs, you can monetize with 1 follower.
So we're going to talk about how we're going to do that, because what I'm going to do is bring this young man, because even though I want him to provide information, but James, come on, I still recognize, I told you at the beginning of this, that we're in business to be a blessing. So we've been a blessing for a lot of this, but then people have to also recognize that they have to sow into their future. And so you have to make sure that you challenge them to do that. So you give them some free nuggets and you give them that opportunity, that pathway, but you also have to challenge them to be willing to sow, because if they want to use your gifts and your talents, you've already done the mistakes. You've had your millennial mistakes. So you need to begin to allow them to understand that if they want what you have, they come where you are, and we'll create a platform. We'll do a special, I told you we'll do a master's class, and we'll talk about these things and how to make this happen. Somebody said they need to book you. And so Laura wants to book you out there. I've done some work with Laura. She has a great platform. She's sewing. I want you right now, James, while you're out there, and I know that this is not conventional, I want you to share with these individuals, because I believe that the beginning of growth starts when you're willing to sow into the life of someone else. You got Cash App, James?
Yeah.
You do Cash App? All right. What is your Cash App? I want to put it in the stream. And if people that are serious about growing, they need to realize that you grow when you sow into the life of somebody else. All right. And so I'm going to be sowing into your life. But what is your Cash App? I want to throw it in our stream real quick.
It's James Hill TV. So $ James Hill TV, just like the name on here.
All right. So those of you who are out there, there are many of you that want to book him. James Hill TV is his Cash App. I think that we have to support young men that are doing great things. He's on here giving free information that has the potential to change many of your lives. I will bring him back in a different platform, and we will have what we'll call a master's class, James, and you can show them. A lot of people want to put their information on your page, which is good, but I think that you have the ability, as Terry Reed that's on our social feed said, you have the ability to create millionaires. So why not allow them to show how they can begin to create their platform as well and begin to use those finances and resources? And you'll be the guru, if you will, the one who knows how to do this, and we'll use that. But we need to make sure that we sow into this young man. You have his Cash App, and I want all of you that are listening, that are interested in doing business with him and using his services, to let's bless him first, and then we'll come back to him and we'll begin to sow from him. All right, so you are now monetizing this. I want to get to some questions that people are going to ask, because we got about 7 minutes. Where should someone who wants to begin the process of building a social media platform, we're not even talking about monetizing it, where should people begin to look when they want to begin to build a social media platform? Where should they start?
I think the biggest problem with small business owners and people trying to create content is they try to be everything to everybody, and it's not about who you want to serve. It's also about who you not going to serve, who you're not trying to sell to. So you have to figure out who your customer is. So reverse engineer who your customer is, and reverse engineer who your customer is not. So you become respected in business, and you start to make more money when you can say no. It's more attractive when you can say no. So when somebody is not your cup of tea, if they're not your customer, and you don't have to work with them, and you don't have to do business with them, and you're not being arrogant about it, but this is a free country. I can decide that, hey, the cheap individuals, the people who are not willing to invest in their craft and their business, I don't have to do business with you. I don't have to give you a cheap service. I provide a quality service, so I need to get compensated for my quality of service. So
James, say that again. Say that again. Say it again. Say what you just said again.
I provide a quality service, so I need to get compensated for my quality of service.
Great things. Quality never goes on sale. I say that all the time. So I will not discount my prices or my quality, but you can tell me what you're working with, and I can provide you a package based upon what you're able to have. Okay. I'm going to say it again. So you say it again. I want them to hear you say that again about quality. I provide
a quality product and service. You know, you have to be willing to pay for a quality product or service. If you're not, then it's okay. It's okay to let a customer go. You do not have to try to sell everything to everybody. Once you find out your clientele, serve them. And it's easier to serve a customer who you already did business with than to go try to find somebody else and try to find a new customer who don't want to do business with you. You're more attractive in business when you can say no to the wrong people, and you're not going to waste your time with them.
I think I just dropped the mic, and you could probably walk off a stage right now. Are there some? I want to allow those of you who are in our social media stream to ask some questions. If you have a particular question that you want to ask, a lot of you say, hey, we want them, we want them, we want them. James, we're going to create, I want to show you how, because there are some relationships that I have that are out there that I'm willing to help you in terms of putting you in a place and creating an audience. Now, what I have are people who listen. What you have is content that is relevant to what's going on. And so I want to be able, as you show me how to monetize my content, I want to show you how to get people to listen to your message through what you're doing. I think that you're doing an amazing job. All right, quality. Someone says quality over quantity any day. Everybody's asking. I don't know if they want to boo for the holiday. February's coming up, James, but everybody wants to know how old you are.
I'm 26.
What's that?
26.
26. Now, you are saying something that I say all the time. Oftentimes, we wait for young people when we say that our young people are our future, but you are a perfect example. And this pandemic is a perfect example that young people like yourselves are not. My entire ministry, our church ministry, is run by everybody's under 30. You guys are the ones that we need to be paying attention to now because our platforms have shifted. Things aren't, marketing isn't what marketing used to be 20 years ago, but marketing is about how do you begin to reverse engineer your information to what you just said. So I think that you are great. What advice would you give to anybody out there that's saying, hey, I want to build this platform, I want to be great? How should they start? Talk to them about work ethic, give them a nugget that they can leave here and say, and remember James Hill from James Hill TV.
Okay, this is two things I always tell business owners, and I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it loud and clear. So the first thing you want to do is reverse engineer your customer. What does that look like? That means you write down what age group is your customer in? How much money does your customer make? Because if you know that your customer is a middle class black woman from Arkansas or a middle class black woman from Detroit, you can target that. But if you think you're going to serve a middle class black woman and a wealthy white man with the same product or service, it's not going to happen. So once you figure out what area do they stay in, are they in the US? I sell products all across the globe. I have people in the UK that buy products from me, but that's not my target audience, even though they do. So I'm not marketing to them. I market in the US. So you have to figure out your target audience. How much money do they make? How old are they? If they are particularly women, that's fine. If they're just solely men, that's fine, right? How do they dress? What fashion does your product sell? A status symbol? Are you selling luxury clothing compared to just clothing that you can find in Walmart? Right?
Okay, James, I'm sorry, and I hate to do this. You are giving so much information. We're going to bring you back here. I want them to stay tuned for a master's class. I want to thank you for coming, James. You are a young man. I'll put your information on Straight Talks page, on my personal page. Everybody go to blackmillionaires.com. That's where you can find him and find this information because it is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for tuning in to Straight Talk. Those of you who are on social media, stay tuned. We can ask some more questions.
You've been listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed.
Okay, James, why don't you go ahead and finish that point two that you were going to give, and I don't want to leave the people hanging. All right, so the social media platform that's out here, why don't you go ahead? Point one was to reverse engineer your customer and target them. What was point two?
Point two is stop trying to create content and start documenting content. So if you have a small business, instead of sitting up trying to create things, start documenting what you are already doing. So if you have a t-shirt line and you're making 5 sales, you need to be taking pictures and videos of you delivering the products through UPS and FedEx. So now what that creates is social proof. So nobody want to do business with somebody that nobody else is doing business with. So you have to show people that, yes, I already have customers. I'm serving customers. Or if you make candles, for example, teach people how to make candles, even though they don't want to make candles and they want to buy them from you. At least you're educating people. And the more you educate people, the more their trust level for you goes up. And I can tell you anything if you trust me.
Okay,
Right?
so James, we're gonna have to put a pin in it right there. we'll have some more conversation. I'm gonna give you a call after I get out of the studio. I got to do a promo for our next show, okay?
Okay.
But you stay tuned. God bless you, my man. We'll be in touch. I'll call you right after the show. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in for Straight Talk.
All right.
All right, James.